Welcome back to Contesting Logistics 3, where I will present information and topics for your consideration on threats, gaps, and principles. As we've discussed previously, we're entering an era where logistics is not just a support function, but a central battlefield. Adversaries are no longer content with targeting frontline forces. They're going after the arteries that sustain entire operations. This shift has redefined what it means to compete and survive in modern conflict. The lessons from Ukraine are instructive. Russian forces, despite their size, faced crippling setbacks when their supply lines were disrupted by agile, tech-enabled defenders. This is not just about trucks and warehouses. It's about integrating intelligence, technology, and rapid adaptation at every level. The era of unchallenged supply lines is over. Now, we have to acknowledge that every link in the chain can, will, and is contested. And it is only those who acknowledge this, anticipate, and adapt continuously will endure. Let's break down vulnerabilities that define today's logistics landscape. 6 domains: adversarial expertise, organizational structure, bureaucracy, technology, strategic planning, and supply chain resilience form the backbone of any assessment. Russia excels in hybrid tactics and rapid adaptation, leveraging centralized command and global experience. Europe, meanwhile, leads in advanced, integrated technology but faces its own risks from over-complexity and global dependencies. It is also my assessment that U.S. holds the edge in tech and private sector partnerships, but process bottlenecks and a risk-averse culture poises us be slower in our crisis response and generate a crescendo of unnecessary risks that we should have the foresight to preemptively mitigate. It is also my view that China's system is less vulnerable to internal disruption, but more exposed to external interdiction. The real question in all of this, however, isn't who has the edge current state, but who can close their gaps faster than their adversaries, especially when the pressure is on. Recent years have provided hard lessons about choke points and overconcentration. The global semiconductor shortage rippled through defense and commercial sectors alike, revealing how dependent we are on single regions and suppliers. The Suez Canal blockage was a vivid reminder that a single event can halt 12% of global trade. COVID-19 exposed the fragility of just-in-time logistics, forcing organizations to adapt at record speed. The common thread: resilience, redundancy, and digital tools are now non-negotiable. Industry and military alike are learning that robust planning and rapid adaptation are the only ways to weather the next disruption. Russian logistics is built on Soviet principles: mass centralization and top-down command. While mass is a key principle of warfare, such approach brings vulnerabilities to fixed infrastructure, fuel bottlenecks, and poor cyber hygiene. Those weaknesses are exploited in Ukraine, where targeted strikes and cyber operations have paralyzed Russian sustainment, denied them their reach, their tempo, and endurance. The takeaway: effective exploitation is relentless, intelligence-driven, and multi-domain. It's not about breaking things to measure combat effectiveness. It's about keeping them broken, denying adversaries the ability to recover or adapt. Modern adversaries weaponize everything from migration flows to cyber attacks. Artificial choke points can be created by manipulating supply chains, targeting communications, or even leveraging natural disasters. Hybrid tactics, like hacking autonomous systems, sabotaging energy supplies, or disrupting financial transactions, are now standard tools. Guerrilla and proxy forces, precision targeting, deception, economic pressure all serve to undermine logistics. The goal is to disrupt, delay, and destabilize, often without a single shot fired. The lesson: resilience must be built not just for physical threats, but for the full spectrum of asymmetric and hybrid attacks that we face now in competition that only will escalate should we have to transition to conflict. Logistics networks, military and commercial, at this moment face threats across every domain: physical, cyber, economic, and informational. Supply chain fragility, talent shortages, medical logistics gaps, and adversarial tactics all contribute to systemic vulnerability to a nation's security. Joint and service seams, prepositioning risks, and technology utilization gaps can cascade into delays and failures. The underlying causes include organizational weaknesses, policy barriers, and a lack of cognitive agility. This demands a culture of continuous innovation and rapid learning, not just words but in action. My point of emphasis here is that only through integrated intelligence and a bias for survivability can organizations hope to keep pace with adaptive threats? I say again, an integrated intelligence approach and a bias for survivability is required to keep pace with adaptive threats, cross-cutting across all domains and warfighting functions. Survival and contested logistics depends on agility. Technological integration, like deploying cyber-resilient and autonomous systems leveraging predictive analytics, and strengthening private sector partnerships, is essential. Policy and process reforms must decentralize authority and reduce bureaucracy, while training programs should focus on technical-tactical integration and advanced cognition. Most importantly, a cultural shift is needed, notably the fostering of cognitive agility, entrepreneurial innovation, and an offensive mindset displayed at every level. The organizations that thrive will be those that anticipate disruption and empower their people to act decisively. Disrupting logistics requires a blend of kinetic and non-kinetic actions. Precision strikes, interdiction operations, and special forces sabotage are complemented by cyber and electronic warfare, economic measures, and information campaigns. Maritime blockades, sanctions, and the targeting of logistics IT systems can paralyze adversary coordination. Diplomatic isolation and disinformation campaigns further erode the enemy's ability to sustain operations. The most effective strategies synchronize these tools, ensuring that every link in the adversary's logistics chain is contested, and every outcome is shaped by deliberate action. Offensive logistics is a multi-layered campaign guided by the 6 Ds of logistics contestation. They are detection, deception, disruption, degradation, denial, and destruction. Intelligence and logistics expertise and coordination drives every action, from identifying critical nodes, operationalizing the most effective techniques, tactics, and procedures, and inflict effective disruption, lasting damage, and shut down combat forces in their tracks. Synchronization and agility are the keys ensuring that adversaries are not just disrupted, but unable to recover. We ensure that every link is contested, and every outcome is shaped by proactive, adaptive operations, and within the parameters of commanders' judgment on escalatory risk. The bottom line, success is not just about breaking the enemy's logistics, but about ensuring they stay broken. Effectiveness in logistics contestation is measured by disruption achieved, persistence of effects, and the speed of adversary adaptation. Metrics like supply chain delays, reduction in throughput, and economic impact are just samples of the means to provide tangible evidence of success. But the crucial measurement is that of resilience. Simply stated, how quickly can our adversaries recover, and how well do our own forces maintain continuity of their operations? The continuous intelligence feedback and rapid learning cycles are essential. Ultimately, the goal is not just to disrupt, but to outpace and outlearn the adversary at every turn. Resilience is built through layered supply chains, predictive AL, and dynamic contingency planning. Multinational collaboration and public-private partnerships enhance integration and adaptability. Measuring effectiveness requires clear performance metrics and a commitment to continuous improvement. Real-world success stories, from rapid rerouting during the Suez Canal blockage to industry's use of digital twins and simulation, show that agile networks are the foundation of sustained operations. The organizations that succeed are those that can adapt and overcome, no matter the disruption. Unified cross-domain training is essential for real-world readiness. Integrated programs combining digital twin simulations, red teaming, and multinational exercises prepare logisticians to operate seamlessly across all domains. Exchange programs with agencies and allies build interoperability and foster a culture of collaboration. The most advanced organizations use immersive, tech-driven learning to ensure their teams are ready for the complexity and unpredictability of modern logistics. Adversaries attack logistics across physical, cyber, economic, and informational dimensions, often blending kinetic and non-kinetic means. Gaps and vulnerabilities are systemic, stemming from alliance seams, bureaucracy, over-centralization, and weak integration. Hybrid actors like Russia probe and adapt at a tempo that often outpaces Western coordination. To counter this, core principles resilience, redundancy, agility, integration, and anticipation must underpin every aspect of logistics planning and execution. Effectiveness demands measurement, feedback, and a relentless commitment to learning and action. The future belongs to those who adapt, innovate, and lead in the contest for logistics supremacy. Thanks for listening, and join me again for contesting Logistics 4 as we will examine together the environment, the assessment, the shaping of the environment, considering climate change, the industrial ecosystem, and integration strategies. I look forward to your feedback and continuing the discussion. Time to action, adaptability, innovation, and leadership in the realm of logistics contestation.